I do really feel that after years and years of teaching that we have had an impact this year in making or getting children to think about the world of work, but it's partly been because the teachers have also been thinking about it more, and we've started introducing the language in our classroom daily activities, and we've started sort of going on about CVs or using the skills framework type of language.
For the development of the road trips, we are now having students approaching us and to actually say, I want to go on this road trip because I think it's going to be beneficial for me.
And the pupils that I took were mainly interested in potentially leaving school either this academic year or next academic year to pursue a career in hospitality that didn't require them to go to higher education, and they're more vocationally inclined. So that was quite important for us to be able to get the pupils out into the world of work.
It has been something that has been really beneficial. A number of our students have really enjoyed, has been really successful for them. A number have either gone on to have employment straight from the same company, or a few have gone on to do Jet Plus.
What bit of advice would I provide? I would say that someone has to lead from the front with this. Even though we have people with responsibility for driving the curriculum, learning and teaching, all of that comes together, and being able to draw, having one person draw all those areas together will allow staff to feel that it's an area that's being developed, being pushed forward, and it's also given credence with the student.
In terms of advice, it's just, obviously it's about communication. Like, the most important thing in setting all this up and in developing it all was communication among the staff who were involved here, but also in terms of communicating with sort of business as well. And I think it can be really difficult when you're in a school to remember that everyone works on different timescales. We work on quite intense timescales in school because we're working within a term, and often to quite tight deadlines where you're moving from one deadline to the next. So is everyone else out there in the real world, but their timescales can be slightly different.
But the reaction of the pupils whose own parents were sitting there was really very, very positive. And what I would say to anyone else wanting to implement the same sort of idea is the more local the business is and the more of the actual parents of that year group you have, the more meaningful it probably is.
I think we've still got quite a bit of work to do with our parent body to make sure that parents completely are buying into the idea that all opportunities that are out there are of equal value. So I would say that that's still quite a big job to do there. We will continue to work really hard with our staff, our young people, with parents and with the local community. And I would say in terms of the vision, working with the local community is another area that we still need to develop. You know, pulling more partners in and engaging much more of the local community in what we're doing. We've done a lot of work in that area, but we've still got quite a lot to do still, I would suggest.
No longer did they find it as daunting to use this language of learning, language of skills framework. They still found it daunting though to meet adults, and I think that's still where we have a way to go, that past third year they need to really be meeting people in the jobs, and that's maybe where work experience comes in.
In terms of next steps, you know, we've got loads and loads and loads to keep working on with reading engagement and loads of new ideas. And actually, one of the lovely things about running a challenge like that is that I think when you give the kids the chance to really properly feed back to you, especially in conversation, they then say things like, oh, next time could we do, could you encourage us to read more by finding opportunities more often throughout the day? And actually, those conversations don't happen until you run a big event or you do something like that that gives them a reason to come and have that conversation with you. So that's been really good in terms of professional practice and in terms of developing what we're going to do next, really.
Over the last 3 years, we have been doing a lot of extracurricular work, and our focus now is looking at learning and teaching. As a result, we're having a meeting during May, which is going to review our 3-year process. And the successes that we've had have been encouraging our primary schools or our cluster to want to become involved as well. So as part of our WOW Week, we had Woodlands, a special school across the road, that became involved. And as a result, our primary schools are now going to be involved in the evaluation of where they're at this point in time, where they need to be working towards. And that will join up with our evaluation processes, which will then allow us over the next 3 to 5 years to develop a Currie cluster DYW strategy group instead of just being Currie, which is truly 3 to 18.